I'm Molly Armstrong.
And I'm Garrett Weiss.
And welcome to this week's episode of SVSN.
And Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Holidays.
Season's greetings.
The fat man's coming.
Feliz Navidad.
And the big balls are dropping.
Happy New Year.
Speaking about New Year's, you all need to be safe with New Year's celebrations. We have Tatiana with that subject. Out to you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Molly and Garrett. Tatiana Nuhaiva here, and I will be interviewing Chief Blair and Trooper Davis on drinking and driving. How long have you been a state trooper?
I've been a state trooper for 5 years. All have been at the Chillicothe post, which covers Pike County.
How long have you been a chief?
I've been a chief since November 2015, and I was lieutenant prior to that, and have been at Piketon Police Department since 2003.
What are some of the most dangerous times to be on the road?
Most dangerous times be on the roadway, be obviously with icy conditions, snowy roadway conditions, and of course on holiday weekends and a lot of traveling.
What are some tips you could give to avoid drinking and driving and accidents?
For drinking and driving, obviously plan ahead. If you're planning on consuming alcohol, arrange for a designated driver. Or if you do not have a designated driver, find some place that you can consume alcohol and stay there for the evening. Accidents, always be a defensive driver. Expect the unexpected, and don't travel at a speed that is unsafe for the roadway that you're on, number one, and number two, where you can't get stopped safely if something does run out in front of you.
What are some things sober drivers should be aware of or know about to stay as safe as possible during the New Year's?
Some of the things that I would advise drivers to be safe with, and that's, we preach it all the time, is don't use your cell phone or text and drive while driving. Be alert and pay attention to the roadway. Whatever call you have coming in, we'll wait until you get parked somewhere to answer or send a reply back on a text message. Of course, always wear your seatbelt while you're traveling. And a program that I learned in the academy and Trooper Davis when we done our defensive driving was aim high. Back in the day, they taught you to look ahead, way out ahead. Okay, always know what's out there and plan for what's coming at you, and pay attention to what's way out in front of you.
Do you have anything to add?
No, a lot of the points that he made are true. Obviously, we've been talking about don't drink and drive. That's the number one thing.
According to Ohio traffic fatalities, there have been 995 confirmed fatalities in 2015 and 960 confirmed fatalities in 2014. According to DoSomething.org, someone is injured in a drunk driving incident every 120 seconds. Impairment is not reliant upon the type of alcohol consumed, rather the number of drinks over a certain period of time. Despite myths and misconceptions, coffee, a cold shower, or exercise will not make a person more sober. Only time will.
Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, State Trooper Davis and Chief Blair. And thank you, Tatiana, for that wonderful
Y'all stay safe.
Now, let's take it out to our next segment, everyone's favorite, History with Jay Will.
I'm here with the always handsome Jared Daniel Williams. Mr. Williams, what is our history fun fact for this evening?
Well, Patrick, it's Christmas time, so let's talk about the World War I Christmas truce.
The Christmas truce. What exactly happened, Mr. Williams?
Well, World War I had been going on for a couple months, several months of this time period, and Christmas came along, and on Christmas Eve, the Allies and the Central Powers in one specific part of the line stopped fighting and celebrated Christmas together.
Together. How long did this exactly last, Mr. Williams?
Well, it lasted Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. You know, some of them, they got together and had some religious services, played some soccer together, and just had a fun Christmas time. Some of them even went into the 26th. And then after that, you know, it's back to reality. Fighting had to resume.
Wow, Mr. Williams. So exactly, they just became friends and then they went back to fighting, Mr. Williams?
A lot of them had a hard time pulling the trigger after spending Christmas with their enemies, but yeah, that's kind of what happened. They, were both longing for home, stopped fighting, spontaneously came together, celebrated Christmas, and then the war resumed after Christmas.
So how long did this war exactly last, Mr. Williams?
Well, this war, around 1914, a couple years, around 1917, you get America's entrance into the war. 1918, the war kind of wraps up, and then 1919, you kind of have the finalization of the treaty. So it kind of went on for around 5 years.
And this Christmas truce exactly happened the first year during the war.
Yep.
So did they have a truce every year?
Nope, just one.
So they only became friends for 1 year and then they just killed each other.
Yeah.
And this is the history fun fact with Jared Daniel Williams. Have a happy Jared Daniel Williams Christmas. Back to you, Molly Garrett.
Thanks, Patrick.
Was that history fun fact too pat for you?
No,
Good. Oh.
it wasn't. Now we have some of our elf friends here to help us introduce the next segment. Yay!
You know what I love?
What?
Christmas cookies!
Yay!
Out to you, Hannah and Taryn.
Taryn Smith and Hannah Lamberson here, and since the holidays are coming up, we have decided that we're going to attempt to test an M&M cookie recipe for you guys.
First, you will need 1 cup or 2 sticks of butter, 2/3 cup of brown sugar, 2/3 cups of sugar, 1 egg, 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla, 2 cups of flour, 1 1/4 of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 3/4 cup of M&Ms.
So, we already have our butter measured out, thanks to Taryn. But what I think we should do is we should do our dry ingredients first, don't you?
Dry, yes.
Okay, so what did it say? 2/3 of a cup for the brown
sugar.
You have to be careful not to pack things all the way down. Just like scrape it off with your finger or a knife or something. Because then you end up getting a lot more than you actually need. We didn't really want to get all-purpose flour and then add the baking soda and all that. So we're just going to use self-rising and see how that goes instead of adding all-purpose flour and baking soda and all that. Because the baking soda is what makes the flour rise, but self-rising already has that in it. Flour. Okay, and you want to work on the wet ingredients while I whisk these all together and make sure it's all mixed up good in a different bowl. And, by the way, the oven has been preheating to 350.
Now I'm going to break our egg.
So now, we're just going to combine our wet ingredients with our dry. And you may have to stop to fold down the sides, and that's fine. But just make sure you're getting all the dry stuff off the bottom, because it'll start looking like cookie dough at the top, but then you'll have all this flour at the bottom. It kind of looks like cookie dough, but it doesn't really.
It tastes like it.
So, I'm going to mix it with my hands. Okay, so we added a little bit of water to our cookie dough mix because it was just kind of clumping and not really wanting to do much. Which I think we messed up the directions a little bit, but that's okay. So, what you want to do is you want to get a little bit of butter. I know it sounds kind of gross. But get you a little bit of butter and put it on your hands and just rub it in like you're washing them, basically. It sounds pretty gross.
And then,
but it helps it not to stick to you when you roll it into balls.
And then you just want to get like a clump and just move it in the circular motion. And you should get about this size. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it should be about yay big. And you just want to place it not too close to the edges, so if they spread out, they don't get stuck to the edge.
And you don't want to put them too close together, but you don't want to waste cookie sheet space by putting them too far apart. So we have about 12 cookies
on one sheet. I'm sure you guys can see them, which we told you guys not to make them too big, which we did the complete opposite. We started out small and got big. But now we're going to place them in our 350 degrees preheated oven for 8 to 10 minutes, or just until they get brown enough to your to your liking. Here's our final product. Feel free to share your final product on our Twitter page. Hannah and Taryn with SVSN News, signing out.
Thanks, Hannah and Taryn. That looks delicious.
Now, Mr. Wheeler has been busy at work lately helping his art students prepare their Christmas villages. Alex and Sarah has more on this.
It's that time of the year again. Mr. Wheeler's Christmas Village Art Project is back.
The project is a competition between art classes to see who can make the best Christmas village. Students in Art 2 through Art 5 are allowed to participate.
Participants use cardboard, paint, and many other materials to create a miniature village for the competition. The 3 art classes participating are periods 3, 5, and 7.
Third period is composed of art levels 2 through 5, and fifth period is composed of art levels 2 through 3. Both classes chose a city as their theme.
7th period is composed of art levels 2 through 5, and their theme is the recreation of Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
The Piketon High School art teacher and Christmas Village supervisor, Mr. Wheeler, says, this year's participation and ideas have been the best since the start of the project in 2009.
The villages will be displayed to the public at Ritchie's Marketplace in Piketon after judging.
Each village was judged by teachers and faculty on December 16th. The winner will be announced on the next episode. I'm Sarah Gilman.
I'm Alex Bottom.
Have a Merry Christmas
And a Happy New Year!
Thank you, Alex and Sarah. Those villages look great, and I know everybody that has attended in it put so much effort into it.
Yeah, I've been in and out of the art room lately, and it's been great seeing everyone in the Christmas spirit.
Ho, ho, ho.
Now it's time for the segment you've all been waiting for. Let's take it out to SVSN's very own B-Dad.
Ho, 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 I'm Santa Claus today, and I like milk and cookies. No, I'm not, guys. It's B-Dad. I'm in a Santa suit today. 'Cause it's Christmas coming up. And you know what I like about Christmas? Food. I love pancakes. I mean, you whip up a batter, you put anything you feel like in there, like peanut butter, blueberries, strawberries, even chocolate chips. You stir it up, you stinking put that thing in a frying pan, and they're like little circles. You gotta make them circular because they're called pancakes. And you make them in a pan or on a skillet. And you can have those for breakfast during Christmas. After the kids open their presents and have a good time, you tell your mom or dad to go in there, whip you up a batch of pancakes, and boom, you got breakfast for you. And then they're really good for dinner later at night, because of course you're going to have friends come over, and you're going to have a big old Christmas meal. But that night, you're going to still be hungry too. So you can save those pancakes, and you can eat them. And you know, all kinds of syrups go good with it too. Blueberry, strawberry, just regular syrup, the fat-free kind of syrup, the gluten-free syrup. You can just go to the people at IHOP and ask them what kind of syrup they like, because they're the experts of pancakes. International House of Pancakes, that's IHOP, but homemade pancakes, just the best. That been it for Brunch with B-Dad, everybody. Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, B-Dad.
Okay, now it's time for a more serious subject here at SVSN.
Yes, a representative from Tyler's Light came in and gave us an assembly this past week. The speaker was actually the father of a boy named Tyler, who was a star football player and became addicted to prescription drugs, and later it transformed into heroin, and he unfortunately died of an overdose. We have a few clips from that assembly.
You know what subject we're going to talk about today? Have they told you? I heard it mumbled way up there. We're going to talk about it now. The car was the #1 way to accidentally die for 50 years. #1. Guess what just took first place about 5 years ago? Accidental overdose took first place. It's now pulling away. That's a scary thought. In Ohio, we're losing 40 to 50 of you per week. How come this isn't on the news? How come out front of your high school you don't have like a ticker? They lost 1, there's 2, there's 3. How come this isn't national news?
Thank you, and just like the speaker said, speak up and save a life.
You can tell anybody, just tell somebody.
You can even tell us at our email down below.
Now, let's take it out to the Sports Center team.
And Merry Christmas!
Welcome back to this episode of SVSN. I'm your sports anchor, Gabe Burkheimer.
And I'm your other sports anchor, calculator Bradley Sickles.
And we have got some news for you. And just for the viewers that were wondering, yes, me and Brad did match today. Not a coincidence, I texted him last night. Isn't that right, Brad?
Yes, he texted me like, hey, you want to wear a white t-shirt tomorrow?
And you know what he said? He said yes. That answers your questions. Now on to our news, Brad. Do you like animals, Brad?
I do like animals. Matter of fact, I watch Animal Planet all the time. Do you ever get a chance to watch Animal Planet?
You, Brad? I never get a chance to. But you know, I like learning about the different type of animals out there. I mean, you have your penguins, your alligators, you have your whales. But you know my favorite type of animal is, Brad?
What is it, Gabe?
The panther. Speaking of panthers, our very own Eric Mullins, I believe, has a story.
Yeah, about Carolina Panthers, the NFL team. Out to you, Eric.
The Carolina Panthers started out the season 13-0, still undefeated, led by quarterback Cam Newton. He's the top voted player in the MVP race. My prediction, 19-0 Super Bowl, Cam Newton MVP. Back to you, Gabe and Brad.
The White Eagles, the next one.
But you gotta find that slogan.
Thank you for that report, Eric.
Yes, thank you, Eric. And speaking of Panthers, the Southeastern Panthers, that is a sports team in the SVC. Power Pikeman boys played them this last week. Our very own Andrew Thompson has more on the story. Out to you, Andrew.
Just this Tuesday, the Southeastern Panthers took on our very own Piketon Red Streaks. Let's see how it all went down.
Right from the beginning, the Panthers would build some momentum by hitting a three-pointer just after the opening tip. This would set the tone early on in the first half. At first, things were slow for the Streaks, having trouble making their shots fall, but later would recover with a Zimmerman 3. This would be the start of a pattern for Piketon in the second half. In the third quarter, though, it would be the same story for the Panthers hitting most of their shots. Piketon would soon start to heat up in the fourth, with Volgamore consistent with the three-pointer. The Red Streaks would soon close the gap down to a point, but in the end, Southeastern would pull away with the win. The next game is Friday at Huntington. Back to you, Brad and Gabe.
Thank you, Andrew, for that awesome report!
Awesome report! Speaking of awesome, we have more games coming up. Saturday the 19th at home versus Manchester at 6. And Monday 28th at Waverly is the boys' holiday tournament at 6.
Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho.
And then Tuesday the 29th at Waverly is the championship boys' holiday tournament game at 6.
Yeah.
And then girls' basketball coming up.
Girls basketball!
Monday 21st and Tuesday the 22nd. The girls' holiday tourney at Piketon at 6 o'clock.
Gabe, I hate to inform us, but that's the end of this episode.
I'm your sports anchor, Gabe Burkheimer.
And I'm your other anchor, Bradley Sickles.
And to all you out there in the valley, keep it classy! Rah, 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 rah.
I just say that one.
Just this Tuesday, the Southeastern they won troops.
Yes.
Give a W. I couldn't say that. All went down.
Carolina Panthers.
I need this.